everyone. The MCU in review. It's season 2, episode 2. I'm here with Randy and Quay tonight. Talk about Wonder Man. We also want to talk about the MK2 trailer. I know we normally talk about MCU stuff, but we were excited about that and thought it was something to geek over. But before we head into that, let's give everyone a proper introduction here. We got Randy over in Jersey. How you doing, bro?
Yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy to nerd out with my guys on some MCU in review. We got some premium content the year of 2026. We got Spider-Man movie, Avengers movie. Marvel has been, dropping little dimes here and there, leading us up to that. And just I think, some really quality content outside of the film space. So excited to break down some of that. And then I'm a huge fighting game, video game nerd as well. So MK film, Street Fighter film as well, coming out this year. We're really eating good in terms of if you like action, if you like the lore and the universes that these characters come from. Should be a real good year. So I'll pass it over to Quay out in the AZ.
Yeah, what's good, Quay? How you doing tonight?
As always, we get together. It's always a good time. I'm super excited to talk about some MCU, Wonder Man. I think it was a surprise for a lot of people. And then MK trailer, I think, has sparked a lot of interest. Maybe some fans who weren't so sure about another entry of this universe. So super excited to talk about all of it with everyone. I know we usually feel more often, for those who see us link up. But it's always nice when we get to nerd out and like that, grew up comics and fighting games, video games, like that. So it's always nice when we can get together, just nerd out about that stuff. You don't have to get all serious about.
Yeah, I mean, the way that people talk about these topics, you would think that it was just as important. It's like a sports team to some, repping their favorite characters. I like Iron Man, I like Captain America, or even across brands.
True.
Like, I like Marvel, or I like DC, or different types of, animation styles too in different countries. Everyone always wants to beef, but we're here all love, and we're going to talk about a series that I think all of us love, and that's Wonder Man. It was only 8 episodes. I think each episode was maybe at most four. I think there was one that was like 40-ish minutes, but most of them I think were under 30. Some of them were like 28 minutes. Um, I thought the show was great. I mean, Yahya Abdul-Mateen, I mean, he killed it. Sir Ben Kingsley killed it per usual. Trevor Slattery, which at one point you thought was just a throwaway character, right? This character that was impersonating a beloved uh, villain from the Iron Man's Rogue Gallery, and it turns out being the twist in Iron Man 3 that Trevor Slattery was just an actor that was working for Killian in that movie. And then they brought him back in Shang-Chi, which was cool because there was that connection with the Ten Rings and everything. And he was kind of just this despondent. Uh, I guess he was super high off of opium or something out there. And he was just there for them, making jokes and everything, keeping them entertained as an actor. And then now we see his journey back to LA where he started, where he obviously has some history there, and all that ties into this, young actor who's trying to make his, way into the industry at the beginning of the season, or he loses his job at his acting gig with American Horror Story because he's going too overboard with the character that he's supposed to play. He's only supposed to play this small little minor cameo, and then we see this evolution of him, ending with him being the lead role of Wonder Man, and being well-known actor, and even using that fame to achieve what he wants to achieve at the end of the show there. So, what were your guys' thoughts on Wonder Man, and did you think it was a good show, and how did you react to it?
Yeah, for
I
me,
personally enjoyed it.
yeah, I thought it was a really good love letter to the acting industry and specifically the grind that is the Hollywood scene. Um, I think aside from being a ground level hero, we hear this term of ground level hero series like a Daredevil. And what does that mean? That means it's more like close knit in the neighborhood. Everyday relatable issues, but someone with superhuman abilities is kind of tackling these issues as they unfold. Um, I think we had almost like a double effect of that as it was street level, seeing Simon navigate his life, but then it was also almost in a nod to kind of like a Deadpool breaking the fourth wall of like, it was very, I'm forgetting Inception like in terms of the show about actors creating films and showing that side of it. I think that the progression throughout the entire season was really smooth. I liked the characters as they were introduced. No one felt really boring, and to me, I think they did a lot of this with very little action. And when you're going into a superhero film, I think that's mainly what you're thinking. But this is actually all about the drama, um, and overthinking, anxiety, um, to people with a common goal or what they see as a common goal coming together, but actually both working with ulterior motives, and all of those things that are at play. That the social climbing. Um, Simon's introspection being faced with his familial ties now being showed to a coworker, um, even just facing the shadow of his own brother, who is successful and well liked, and Simon, who is this artist who is hard to understand, has layers to him, and is also struggling to cope with the fact that he has superpowers, and he's afraid that because of in this very specific universe, there is legal progressions against superheroes acting in the film industry as a safety threat. Think very much the Sokovia Accords, but specifically for um, the film industry as a result of what my favorite episode of the entire series was Doorman, episode 4, which introduces the character Doorman. I thought that they could have released that as its own standalone thing, like the Werewolf by Night. It could easily stand on its own as just its own piece of thing, but I think it fits so well halfway through Wonder Man because it really, although Simon is not in that episode at all, it is so paramount after spending a few episodes getting to know Simon to find out why he might be so afraid of embracing his superpowers and why that could jeopardize everything that we just watched him working for 3 episodes for. Doorman to me felt like all of the good elements of early Atlanta, combined with a superhero, but almost a very noir sense to it as well. And then also like the novelty of almost like a Get Him to the Greek, with the dynamic between Doorman and Josh Gad as kind of like party animals and like boys who are just taking the Hollywood scene. So I loved seeing all that. I think Doorman, to me, that episode was so great, and that's not to take anything away from the rest of the other episodes that are focused on the main cast of the show. And I think it fits so well also just the way that they introduce the character of Doorman as an actual doorman at the club in Hollywood. So we see the struggling actor. We see the wash actor who's not sure what his next gig is going to be. We see the older brother who's hardworking and successful, but is almost like turning a blind eye to that creative side and wants to love his brother really, but wants his brother to be more like him. And then amongst all of that, we see I think the character of the bar owner too. That was such a Hollywood dynamic between him and his boss of just like, hey, I'm gonna go take out the trash. It's regular routine. This is my job. And then within the blink of an eye, he gains superpowers. And while we as the audience, we have gotten bits and pieces that Simon has powers, and we know that it's related to the fire, but we didn't see how he got it in the blink of an eye. We do get to see Doorman get his powers right away, and we see that moment happen. And I think it also begins to resonate with us as the viewer that, like, oh, Simon went through this as a child and has been trying to deal with that now as he's grown into adulthood, and it's watched what's happened with Doorman and um I like the whole life cycle thing of it too, where he became popular, he watched himself rise, he watched people start hating on him, he fell off, he had issues controlling his powers, then an accident happened, and someone who was the most liked and loved person could easily become a scapegoat. And I think that that's what Simon is almost running from. And the irony is that he wants to be more seen and wants to be more present on the camera, but it's this constant tug of war between his artistic ego um, and really his natural gifts, like actual superpowers, and suppressing that to really live out his dream as an actor. Um, and one last thing that I want to talk on for Wonder Man is I like the dynamic that Simon as the artist faced, because it showed his mistakes. It showed where he maybe went wrong. We start off with him losing a job, and the embarrassment and shame that has to come with that. But these things happen, and that is part of his story. And what I like is they show the progression. Like he's asking in each of these workspaces, there are Black women who are in position who support Simon and they try to advocate for him. And then he kind of pushes a little bit too hard, and it gets to a point where higher up then removes him. And you know, same dynamic that you see with him and his agent. And that is exactly where, you can tell that, hey, she's willing to go to bat for him at any point in time, but he has also let her down a lot. And it's gotten to the point where she's not willing to push Simon for Wonder Man, and he takes matters into his own hands. And so for me, I just think great runaround of a series. If you are someone who's into acting at all, you don't need to be into superheroes. If you like drama, if you like comedy, I think Wonder Man is got a little bit of it all for you. And just a great performance by a lot of the cast.
I think is this I think Wonder Man kind of really at least it again ties in with this current theme that we're seeing with the fandom of really enjoying projects that have some form of an like emotional depth. Whether it's Thunderbolt dealing with trauma um, and learning how to cope and move on with your guilt and pain. Uh, whether it was the most recent Fantastic Four, where it was this collective, this family coming together, the world coming together, stop this threat. And that having Shala Ball make a change because she really felt the guilt of what she did just to protect her, even though it came from a place of protecting her. Um, she felt the gravity of that, and Johnny resonated, and that's how he was able to get her to turn. The most recent MCU films, even, we go to Guardians 3, that's not a multiversal film. Guardians 3, same thing, there's always been this emotional depth. And I think that's why people really like Wonder Man as well. Like you said, there's a lot of drama, there's comedy to this too. It feels real. Uh, I think it helps that, I think it helps that Simon isn't a superstar at the beginning. We're like watching him really work and grind. And I think that's something we all can resonate with, trying to achieve something, or, whether it's the career that we really want. We're trying to achieve our goal of maybe becoming, CEO, this getting up to a certain like level in that field. We all can resonate with it. And, seeing Simon struggle, seeing him have anxiety and trying to keep just like a cap over all of this anxiety and anger and frustration that he feels. And I think, again, we all relate to that when really want something and we're trying, but then maybe knock ourselves down or make ourselves second guess ourselves because we're thinking, oh, but with this, and I love that Trevor was such a good, like a good equalizer for Simon. Really getting him to see like, hey, no, you need to kind of relax. Like, there's no more you can do in the moment. Like, you just have to wait. Or, hey, maybe you're doing too much by trying to feel like you need to understand or get into the character. Just, you're a talented actor. Just be in the moment. And again, that's something I think all of us have a like hard time doing sometimes. It's just kind of staying present, staying in the moment, and understanding that if we're doing the work and opportunities, of rise, like we'll be fine. He did have to take certain things in his own hands, like you said, just because he would always push a little bit too much because he really wanted it. And you kind of seen how not only the relationship with his manager, but even with his brother. I think his brother didn't doubt that Simon had a lot of potential. I think he really wanted to really see that potential, and he felt like it was just never going to actually manifest through acting because it was always the same old, same old. Um, and I like how they ended up kind of where we kind of see their relationship towards the end, and we kind of see like, okay, no, he really does love his brother. But the show again, just so many things that I felt like that it was very meta. What people feel currently in terms of there's a lot of superhero fatigue, which is why Kovac decided to make this movie. And same thing with real life. A lot of people feel like we're at the superhero fatigue. And we talk about it all the time. I don't think that's the truth. I think we see a lot of different superhero media still really flourishing. I think it just really depends on what the audience really wants. And even that doesn't mean that the things that the audience doesn't want is bad. I just think, yes, the audience has a lot of say currently in what movies are released in the superhero genre under the um, which is why we had to kind of pivot really hard to get to Doom and and Secret Wars and this reboot, so we can get to the X-Men and the mutants. Which, going back to his powers, that makes me wonder if that's what they're kind of hinting at with Simon, that he is a mutant. There is no indication that, I was thinking at one point maybe it had some into Roxxon because of what we see in Doorman, but I like what the introduction of Roxxon and Doorman does, maybe bringing with bringing back Cloak and Dagger. as we see that they obviously have been working with dark force essence or energy, because that's exactly where Doorman's powers kind of stem from. He's not as powerful as Ty is, aka Oak, but still similar abilities with tapping into the dark force and opening up portals and things like that. So I like that universe building. I think we really are going to see, which is something I mean, Kevin Feige had hinted to, but even something I started to see and realize and thought this would be the best option going forward is having different teams. So movies and projects can kind of stay within their certain boxes, and then we can always kind of bring those together in big culminated projects. Like a Avengers level event, as we're seeing the ground level, street level heroes come into play more. Spider-Man becoming more ground level again since tied into Tony, and then we're seeing the mutants come back up, which they have all types of ties. We can have street levels with them. We can have adventure level events with them. We can have cosmic level events with them. Um, we're probably getting a hint. Midnight Suns as well. It seems like that's going to be a pivot with Blade. So I'm liking that we're introducing we're that Wonder Man even branch and kind of did some world building beyond just the show itself with that Roxxon drop, and even Damage Control having like a bigger role in this and what they're potentially going to do for the future of the MCU. But yeah, I really think they're saying he's a mutant. His powers in the comics and just his origins in the comics are all kind of weird anyway. So I think you can this is a character kind of like the Guardians, where very abstract, very deep, and so you kind of do your own thing with it. So I had a great time. Yaya Abdul-Mateen is always great. I mean, Ben Kingsley, legend. So I had a great time with him as the character Simon. I'm wondering what his future is going to be in the MCU. Are we going to see him really come back? Is there going to be a season 2? What does a season 2 look like? Do they lean into when I'm in the comics where he's an actor and a superhero? Does that mean we're going to eventually see maybe Jennifer kind of a court case for him? Because if something happens and they do find out he has powers, because of Doorman, you can't have powers and be an actor. And I feel like maybe she can be a person that helps him out with his legal trouble, or even Daredevil, that he does have clients in California, so we can see him come out to the West Coast. But I'm interested to see where they go with this character. But if all we get is a season 1 and that's it, I mean, this again was a really great project, and for me, I think a top 5 project in terms of the TV shows that the MCU has dropped.
Yeah, Matt, I definitely think it's one of the better projects in the MCU. I loved everything everyone said. It does feel like real life feels like it's one of your friends who's struggling and secretly has superpowers. And I'm really interested in seeing what's next for Simon and Trevor. I mean, they obviously escape and fly off at the end, and who knows, maybe they have at least a mention of him in the next 2 Avengers movies. I could also see it in Spider-Man, with Damage Control being a key part of that movie, getting a little Wonder Man reference there too. I doubt he'd physically show up, but obviously just a little name drop wouldn't surprise me at all. Um, I mean, the writing was just great. I mean, the parallels in the friendship between Simon and Trevor, Wonder Man and Barnaby, and them writing this new
Mm-hmm.
twist in the story, or Kovac and the writer makes it so that Barnaby betrays, Wonder Man in this iteration, and Trevor ends up betraying him, but then he ends up redeeming himself by posing as the Mandarin one last time and making sure that Simon doesn't get in trouble for the incident that happens in the studio. So, I mean, where does this land in terms of the best uh, Disney Plus, like the Disney Plus? We'll keep the scope a little small here, but like the Disney Plus era shows, starting from, I guess the first one would be like Wanda, right? Where do we have Wanda in terms of like tiers? Like, is it S tier, A tier, B tier?
Uh, I think it's B tier.
I
Off
think
my gut,
it's
off
I think
my
it's
I
initial
think it's
gut.
A
A.
tier.
I think it's either A or S tier.
I
Personally,
give it A tier.
I think A is a good compromise. That's how we landed there. Pretty spread out. Then after that was what, Falcon Winter Soldier.
Yes,
B tier.
I think it's B tier, either B or A tier.
I'm fine with
B,
that in B. I think it's B.
and then was it Loki after that?
Loki, Loki, I think
S
is
tier.
the first
S
S.
tier, and then Loki season 1. Are we gonna include the cartoons as well?
Yeah, we should.
Yeah, what if season 1?
What if season one is S tier? Maybe A tier.
I'd put it at either A or B.
I'll go A tier. Season one is A tier. The other
Um,
two will probably.
C tier. Uh, let's see what else is on here.
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye. Yeah, here we go. Hawkeye season 1. I'd say this is either A or B tier.
Let's go B tier.
I think it was
Uh,
Falcon Winter Soldier.
yeah, it was on the same level. Definitely the same level. And then what we have here, Moon Knight. I would say Moon Knight's probably either A or
A
B
tier.
tier. We put A or
Right.
B. Where you put Randy? You just said.
I think Moon Knight's A for sure. I would even argue S potential.
Okay.
Yeah, it has S potential. I definitely say solid A for sure.
How about Echo? I would say either
Echo would be
B
C.
or C tier.
I say C.
It's a good show though. That definitely watch. Uh, this. Oh, we had She-Hulk first. She-Hulk. I think it's a B tier.
I was gonna say I'll go B
B or
tier.
C.
I think it's.
I'll go more.
I would put it top of B tier. I think it's better than Falcon Winter Soldier.
People hate both of those, so that would make sense. How about Miss Marvel? Miss Marvel is a controversial one. I would say either
I
B
think
or C.
yeah.
I think
I would put
B.
it at B. Yeah, I say B.
B tier. Kamala Khan. How about Ironheart? I would say this is
Ironheart's A tier.
B or for me. I thought it was B or C tier. I would say B for sure. Randy, you didn't finish it yet, right?
I think B is fine.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I
B's
would
fine.
I would I would rely on your opinion more.
Uh, what else we got here? Werewolf at Night.
S
That
tier.
was S.
Oh yeah, I love this one. Shouts to Elsa. Uh, Guardians of the Galaxy Holiday Special. This one's S
Mm,
or
A
A tier
tier.
too. I think it's pretty good, and it's a lot of story too. I think that's the best part about that one.
Mm-hmm.
What do we have next? Secret Invasion. Very very controversial.
C or D tier. I hate to say that, but
It might have to be D tier just because of
yeah, I
CGI
would have to put it.
issues, and I think things with the story just didn't work, and also just the misuse of cameos, and
And it has no real bearing on
yeah.
the saga whatsoever.
Oh, Loki
Like
season
Echo, it
two.
does as a kingpin. S tier.
I think it goes along with, yeah.
Yeah, it feels weird to split it up. It's kind of like two parts of the same story.
We're gonna
What
go.
if season 2?
C or B tier.
I'm gonna put it in C tier.
I could see
What
some
if
cool ideas.
season 3?
Would you say, Randy?
I think some cool ideas explored, but it seems like throwaways that got
Yeah.
further into the development. That's kind of
And
what it
honestly,
feels like to me.
Yeah,
yeah,
season
and
1 has
honestly,
so
after
many good
season,
episodes, and 2 and 3, maybe there's like one or two really good ones, and all the other ones are like, it was okay.
no, I actually think season 2 is better than 3, and I would say 3 probably should go to D tier. Season 2 had, um, season 2 had Hella and Winwood. Season 2 had the
I think it's
season
fair.
2 had yeah, there's like a lot of really good episodes in season 2, but it just did not hit anywhere as hard. Like I wouldn't be mad if someone put that at tier, but I just think C tier for that. But season 3 for sure has to be D.
And I guess to finish off the what if, how about Marvel Zombies?
Zombies is A tier.
You think B
I'm cool.
tier?
I said A tier. I thought Zombies was actually really good just for a
Yeah,
standalone thing, and then it could, even from a continuation from an episode of that,
yeah, I thought
it
it
was really well.
was quite good, quite good. All right,
Daredevil Born Again.
yeah, Born Again.
I think that's
Season
S.
one,
The Born Again season 1. I would say it's A tier. I don't. It's either A or
I
S tier, I think. But I'm more leaning towards A.
I'm leaning at high A to bottom S.
Yeah, let's put it at A. I think it's safe at A. All right. How about Agatha All Along?
I low key wouldn't be mad at putting that S tier, but it has to be A tier.
I think it's S tier. I
That's why I
think
said
just because
I
of
wouldn't be mad at it being S tier. It's really well done.
the lore in the show is really crazy. The ramifications of what happens in the show is really like a lot of the other shows. Like stuff happens, but it doesn't really move the needle. I think it's one of the only shows where it's like, wow, what happens at the end really changes things moving forward.
And there's big setup for the next for another series too, like Vision
Yeah,
Quest, and
yeah.
also Agatha potentially coming back for like Midnight as well as a ghost. So
How about X-Men '97?
S tier.
Yeah, I think that's an easy one. Is that it? Oh yeah, Wonder Man. So where does Simon Williams fit in all of this?
I think Wonder Man as a project is S.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's I gotta put it S tier.
yeah, I think
Um,
so too. S tier. I think it's quite excellent. It's well, it's just all the beats are so good, and uh, yeah, it really pays off at the end. I don't think there's really a bad
uh,
episode.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man.
Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Where is it? I don't see it. Is this it? No, that's not it. There's too many. This version I pick has literally every show that's existed. Where is Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man?
Right here to go. So go back down to where the Spider-Man game. Go to your left three.
Ah, here
Yeah.
we go.
Is that
Good
it?
eye, good eye. Where are we putting
I
this
thought
one?
I thought that was A. I thought it was good.
Yeah.
It was sick. I thought it was sick. I mean, I understand that a lot of people didn't like the choices, race swap, gender, whatever it is. You know, everyone has something they're mad about, but I thought the show was really well done. I mean, all the different bad guys. You know, we get tombstones, based like the whole character arc in parallel to Peter's too. I think it's an excellent show. If someone said they thought it was S tier, that would probably be me. I wouldn't probably agree. I really enjoyed that show. That was awesome. Is there anything else that we may have missed?
Gil,
I think that's it,
Gil,
right?
leave my hair alone. What you doing?
I think that's it,
Just
right? There's no more MCU shows.
no,
I think
that's
that
it.
is it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's it in terms of MCU. So just to go over Secret Invasion D, What If Season 3 D. I mean, those are definitely the bottom of the MCU totem pole. I mean, these are probably, arguably, some of the reasons why people hate on Marvel Studios so much nowadays. Echo, which I think it's a great show. I think it's worth watching. I mean, there's some great action sequences. I mean, you got the Daredevil cameo. It's great. What If Season 2, a lot of good ideas that move forward, but again, doesn't stick the landing as well as Season 1,
Hmm.
which was just full of bangers. Um, Falcon and Winter Soldier, obviously, the title characters are amazing. You have a little cameo here and there, Rhodey cameo, Don Cheadle, George St. Pierre with Bartok cameo as well. But the flag bearers, uh, that whole storyline, them as antagonists, doesn't work that well. But we do get Paul Walker, Battlestar, that whole storyline that moves into Thunderbolts, right? So there are a lot of things that were important, I think, that happened in that show that moved forward to Thunderbolts and also Brave New World. So despite it being maybe not that strong in terms of the conflict between the heroes and the bad guys, it does set up a lot of what happened in Phase 4, Phase 5. Hawkeye Season
I
1.
was
What'd you say?
I was so confused. I was so confused because you said Paul Walker, and I
I
was like,
said Paul
"Who's this?"
Walker,
I
John
didn't even say
Walker.
Paul Walker. Yeah, it was John
I
Walker.
said Paul Walker. I feel.
I was like, who did Paul? I was like, who did
Um,
Paul Walker play?
RFP, RFP.
uh,
Um,
uh,
Hawkeye Season 1 is great. It's really good. We get more of an explanation on like what happened while while Clint was Ronin, right? And then that's like the return of Kingpin as well, and that also ties into
mhm.
Echo, with Echo being kind of one of the main antagonists in that show too. So I think it's really cool that from that one show, it kind of spread out, like the story is spread out through the phase. So as much as people hate on like the story's not connected, there are some stories here that overlap in the shows. She-Hulk, this is a very controversial one too. I think maybe the state of the internet right now, with everyone all red pilled and want to hate on everything that's feminist, quote unquote feminist. They didn't like this show, but I thought it was great. You got some cool cameos, Wong in there, Abomination,
Wongers.
and Madison is a cult classic character too. So there's some things that work here. I mean, obviously the interactions with Hulk at the beginning of the show, and then the twist at the end was Hulk and his son, Scar, which I thought was probably the weirdest thing that happened at the end of that show, and maybe just didn't need to happen at all. But outside of that, I thought the whole story itself regarding She-Hulk was pretty contained, and I thought it was great. So I mean, it's B tier, right? Like it's cool, but we haven't really seen anything from She-Hulk move into the movies moving forward.
Amongst amongst these tiers, how would we rank these? So like S, do we think I would put X-Men 97? But it's hard. Loki was good.
Yeah, it's just it's. I think that Loki season 1 is just it really
I
set
think
set up the whole, I guess, like storyline moving forward too, right? Like it introduces Kang, and then Kang is in Quantumania, and then Loki season 2 introduces Loki as this keeper of time, basically holding all the branches together, and that's kind of the state of the MCU right now with all these timelines in the multiverse. And so I would say that from that standpoint, it's super important. But yeah, the '97 storyline it's so
Really good.
relevant to today as well. I would say I would just give Loki the nod just because of how impressive that the acting when you're physically on the screen, it's just a taller task and they do it so well. Obviously the cartoon is amazing, but I would have it like this. I'd have Loki 1, X-Men 2, then
Werewolf by Night. Is
that I'm not sure.
Agatha?
I actually like Agatha more than Werewolf by
I like
Night,
Agatha more than Werewolf.
and then Wonder Man, I would put over Werewolf by Night, but maybe behind Agatha. I think that's how I would put it.
I guess with Werewolf by Night being a one shot, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, it's like a one shot thing, and again, it's so good what it is,
Yeah.
but that's kind of all it is. Whereas like all these other shows are so like I feel like Agatha and Wonder Man are so meta. They're just like so aware of like what the audience knows and playing with like the audience's emotions throughout the entire ride. Uh, but yeah, I think that's how it should be. In terms of the A tier, I think Wanda's the best one, but
And
that's
I would
kind of
say
my opinion.
Wanda. I would say Wanda, and then probably put
Daredevil,
Born Again, and keep Moon Knight at 3. I would say, or no, keep Moon Knight at 4. Put Spider Man at
Spider-Man 3, What If After Moon Knight, Marvel Zombies. I would actually put more. I wouldn't be mad at Marvel Zombies over What If.
I would
I,
put Zombie. I would. No, no, no,
It's
no, no,
tough though because there's so many good
no, 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 no,
stories
no.
in season one.
Yeah, that first. No, no, no. And the way season 1 ends, like Infinity Ultron. Yeah, no, no,
Yeah,
no.
it's so great. It's great, and also it spawns Marvel Zombies, so you kind of need the
Yeah.
original. And then that holiday special is with Kevin Bacon, who who was also a Marvel.
Footloose.
He was in Marvel too, right? So that's uh,
Mm-hmm.
that's great. And then
Sebastian Shaw.
B tier, uh, I like Falcon Winter Soldier or Hawkeye the most. I think.
I think Falcon Winter Soldier.
I
I,
would put
This is the
Ironheart
toughest
in the
one, I
middle.
think.
I would put Falcon and Winter Soldier probably first.
I put Ironheart in the middle. Yeah.
She-Hulk, Miss Marvel.
I'm fine
Maybe
with
Miss
that.
Marvel,
I
She
I,
Hulk.
I want
Yeah, I think this is probably better.
I want to show more love to
Because Miss Marvel
She-Hulk,
does
but
does more
Yeah, and it
setting up
moves.
things in the universe.
Yeah, that's true, and it moves into the Marvels, so it is kind of, I think,
yeah.
more important too. So, and then C, I think that's fine, and then D, I think we'll have to put like that, right?
Yeah, yeah, I'm cool
And
with that.
Secret Invasion's all the way at the bottom, which Samuel Jackson was getting with a with a scroll. Nick Fury was
That's
getting with a scroll.
that's
That was
that's
great.
Lucy.
That was the scrolls.
Uncle
Uh,
Ryan the Scroll.
all right, well, let's transition over to something else that's kind of fun, and that's that Mortal Kombat 2 trailer here.
Dun, dun,
It's
dun,
called
dun, dun,
Mortal
dun, dun,
Kombat.
dun.
We hope you've been
Yeah, that was great. Definitely more excited than I was before. I can't lie and say I'm like super crazy excited, just because the movies have, even the 95 movie, it's a good movie, but it's not like groundbreaking where you got to tell everyone about it. It's kind of like a guilty pleasure type of movie.
Go tell
But
your
I will
friends
say
about it.
the 2021 film, it did a lot of good things, bring the brutality on the screen. Some of the action scenes are actually pretty good, especially early on with Scorpion Sub Zero and that like prequel intro that we get there. I thought that was my favorite part of the film.
Mhm.
But I also thought it just didn't feel it felt almost like too like the writing, for some reason, for me the writing and some of the casting just didn't work for me as much. I think that the thing that I love about the 95 film, I mean, you get Christopher Lambert as Raiden. He was action star during the Highlander movies, and obviously was an actor in his own right. And then you also have Carrie as well playing Shang Tsung, who's one of the most iconic, uh, in my opinion, movie villains of all time, just in general, not just video game characters. And I think that's what really carried the film was those two personalities, and I think that's what the second film Armageddon was missing. And I think the this new iteration of Mortal Kombat, I just don't I think it's missing that charm. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. I mean, Carl Urban, love him as an actor. He's a physical presence on screen. I think I said this in a group chat. I felt like he doesn't give me like the, I guess, the pretty boy Johnny Cage look, but he's playing a washed, over the hill past his prime Johnny Cage. And again, like a big fan of his acting, so I'm super excited to see what he brings. And I think maybe he can bring some of that charm that I think was missing in the 2021 film. And I think the other thing that I really just didn't like about that film was the whole Arcana thing, to explain all of the superpowers that they have, and also the Cole character who ends up being, Scorpion's descendant. I thought that just didn't make sense. Like, why is this random guy beating Goro on his first time activating his Arcana? That to me doesn't make sense. I don't know who decided on all of that. I know that you want to have a human like character to follow you, but the original film didn't do that. All they did was they placed that responsibility on the main characters, Liu Kang, Sonya, Johnny Cage, to be the human element that we follow. Right, just like in Wonder Man, we were just talking about it. Simon Williams, the main character, that's the human that we follow. We don't have to uh, be spoon fed some sort of device to explain all these superpowers. So that's the thing I didn't like, and I'm really interested in seeing what are they going to do about the Arcana thing. Are they going to bring that over, and what are they going to do with Cole, who we haven't really seen too much in the trailer. We know he's in the movie, so maybe he gets left behind. He has to guard Earthrealm or something. Or maybe
He's
he
getting
dies very
clapped.
early on
He's getting
too.
clapped.
Yeah,
He's
Yeah,
definitely getting clapped.
yeah. So
get him out of here.
yeah, he could be kind of what Art was in the 1995 film, right? That catalyst, the thing that kind of pushes the heroes to fight against this evil that's coming their way. But I'm gonna stop yapping now. Yeah, being the Mortal Kombat fan I am, but you can tell I'm excited but guarded in terms of my anticipation, just because uh, yeah, the other film, I don't know, just it didn't really do it for me. Like I think I gave it like a 6.5 when it came out, which I enjoyed. I'm not mad I saw it. I just don't. I'm not like in love with it. But I think this one has that potential for sure, especially this trailer here. I think this trailer really hypes it up.
I think the problem with the first one was more of I talk about this all the time. I think have expectations, especially then based off of titles. I feel like if the first one would have said Mortal Kombat Precursor and Cursor with a K, yeah, let's do that. But if they did something like that, feel like I feel like people would have respected the fact that the first movie is essentially a prequel movie. That's the problem because everyone expects a Mortal Kombat movie to have a tournament, and we've seen the first one. It's about the tournament. It's about Shang Tsung being shady, which I guess it does kind of call back to 1995, where on the boat he was trying to be shady and maybe kill them while they're on the boat. Where they got to the island before Raiden showed up and was, bruh, this thing's supposed
But
to
that's
go
like the
down.
first like 10 minutes of the film, and
I
I
know
think
that,
that's the
and
thing
I
that makes me
know,
mad about that first Mortal Kombat movie is that we talk about this grand tournament, and then you get to the end of the movie, and it's like, okay, next time on Mortal
yeah,
Kombat.
and that's why I said like if they would have made this movie more clearly, if the fact that like more clear to the audience that hey, this is going to be more of a prequel movie, I think you would receive that first one a little bit better too. The Arcana thing is a huge problem, which I also think that's something they're completely just kind of going with that, kind of cleaning their hands of. Um, as we see Johnny's in this tournament, and unless they're just hiding the fact that he has maybe his like shadow green energy um,
Mhm.
abilities, he's just some regular dude. Which that's what they're kind of pushing in the trailer. He's like, "Yo, I'm just some regular dude." Even Kano in the first trailer is like, "Well, you don't have any superpowers," and it's just like, "All right, so Arcana's not that big of a deal then." So why do we introduce him?
Did y'all see
Um,
the animated Mortal Kombat films? I think it was
like
either
Scorpion's
Scorpion's
the
Revenge.
Revenge and
the Johnny's
Johnny's.
Johnny
Yeah,
seems it seems like he's very closely aligned with that version of Johnny.
yes, that's definitely what they're more so going for
Like
with that Johnny for sure.
already established star, but has had no experience with the netherworld and kind of gets thrust into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean
No, definitely,
that's
they're
90.
definitely
The
leaning into
95 movie was like that too, right? It was like a Johnny who was, they like called him a fraud, and he was famous, but now people didn't like him anymore. So I guess that's always the character that
Johnny
they
has to
always
prove
go for.
himself.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
always have to pit him against the wall. But yeah, I think that the 95 movie does everything that MK1 does in about 20 minutes. But again, they're fleshing out a lot of different storylines, especially with Sub Zero and Scorpion. I think Cole.
Introducing, and as I say, introducing characters. And then Cole. I mean, Cole shouldn't have been introduced. I mean, outside of maybe like I said, I feel like Cole should only exist as this. Hey, we have you as Scorpion. Like I said, there's only two. There's pretty much three paths that they need to take. Seems like they did the one where he's out of here. Like he's gone. We're not gonna see him. He's over finito for him. Secondly, he's going to somehow become Scorpion. I only say that because Hiroyuki Sanada can't necessarily play the role forever. And I don't think this is going to be something they'll kind of keep for the next 10 to 15 years. I think we'll see probably two more Mortal Kombat movies, maybe three, which maybe that does go up to 10 years, but that's probably 6 years if they just do every 2 years for a movie. And then we'll be done. So maybe they'll keep him around, but I just feel like that is something they could do to make Cole kind of relevant. And then the third option is saying he is Takeda, and you could say that Takeda, even though he has ties to being, my goodness, why am I drawing a blank on his name? Um,
Kenshi.
Kenshi, yeah, I don't know why I wanted to say Senzo, because I know it's a sword. That's why I wanted to keep, I wanted to call him. But with Kenshi, I know it Kenshi Takashi. Yeah, that's his last name, right? Takahashi.
Kenshi,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yeah. That
The
is true.
Takahashi it,
Kenshi?
Takeda is his son and all of that.
Yes.
You could say the Takahashi and the Scorpion's last name now. They have like
Uh,
similar name.
I'm forgetting the
Uh,
Hanzo Hasashi.
Hanzo.
Hasashi. Hasashi. You could say that they are essentially blood, like a related family, offshoots of one another. And that's how you could say Cole was a descendant of Scorpion that could unlock him. But you could say he was always meant to be quote unquote Kata. Um, so I don't know, but I'm glad that they're leaning into the fact that he's really not going to be. I think a lot of people would be happy about that too, because that was clearly a problem with the first one. Like you said, beating Goro. I think if he would have beat any other character but Goro, it could have been it could have been Natara. It could have been I mean, I would even accept it if it was
Shang Tsung.
Shiva. No,
Yeah,
I would accept Shiva over Goro. And even Shiva would have been like a bit of a slap in the face to Shiva. But yeah, it's just Goro's so hyped. Like we're supposed to see Goro as this, and maybe some people are like, well, Johnny beat him in a comical nut punch way in the '95, and it's like, but after we saw
After he
Goro
ran
literally just
through,
demolish,
yeah,
yeah, he just demolished like 50 Earthrealmers, and then the way he beat Art. I feel like that's how we should have seen like Goro first. Like he should have at least taken out three Earthrealmers that were fodder in the that were kind of strong, but maybe fodder. Like it could have been Striker,
should have killed
it could have
Cole.
been,
I feel
yeah,
like
it could
if
have easily
Cole
killed
died,
Cole.
that would have been very emotional. We would have loved Cole.
because they're like, oh, we followed him for this movie, and then he just died. What's his? Oh no!
He would have died a
And
hero.
then Scorpion could have came back to life that way, killed Goro, and then had to do the ones with. Yeah, so we just made a better ending for the first Mortal Kombat. But I do think the second movie will also be so much better. Like you said, I don't think it carries the same charm as 95, but I think that's also the era of film back then. There's just a certain quirkiness and charm to a lot of different movies. Um, and then the actor choices. Like, I think, Carrie had so much swagger as Shang Tsung, and Jerry Chan, you know, he he doesn't. He doesn't have the same aura. And then what's his face that's playing Raiden? He doesn't have the same like charm and swagger as well as Chris. So
Right.
it's just it's tough, to beat those two because they were so legendary. I mean, MK1 even gave their skin to you. So yeah, I like I said, I do think the second movie is going to be so much better. Um, and I'm actually more excited. I was excited after seeing the first trailer, but the second trailer has me more intrigued than I was after that trailer.
Yeah, I think the vibes are there. Seeing more of how they're recreating the world as well too, like the shots of the different environment shots were cool. Um, I also think, as these video game titles and the lore get older and like more cemented, I think that there are enough of the people who are tasked with making these films or people who have really grown up and had enough time to live with this material. And I think
Hmm.
that's also why we're starting to see just a little bit more love in these projects, and hopefully that continues to improve them in terms of like quality films that stand up outside of the genre of video game adaptation. And I think that's kind of what we're missing. But in terms of like storytelling and lore, the video game world is so deep, and has so much exposition.
Hmm.
And when you think of franchises like Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, these are um, characters that in the story we've maybe gone 15 years on the timeline chronologically within the story, but we've lived with them for almost 30, um, going on 40 years. And these characters, as we just saw, the influence at the Winter Olympics, Sub-Zero on the rink, uh, things
Yeah.
like that just show how Mortal Kombat just it transcends more than just a game, and it's a part of pop culture. It's a part of our life.
No, I agree. I mean, this Bloodsport is what inspired, Mortal Kombat, and for 30 plus years, we almost 40 years, we've gotten a very fleshed out universe. Um, I mean, all the way up to 12 games. Um, just in terms of their linear continuity, and then in side games, like having Mortal Kombat versus the DC universe,
Yep.
even having Injustice, which is all the DC universe. I mean, those games kind of count, even especially that they're maybe thinking about bringing back and doing another Mortal Kombat versus DC type of video game. But then Shaolin Monks, name another one. Man, that's definitely a fan favorite. But yeah, it's a beloved universe. It was one of the first video games really pushed, you know, the narrative that maybe a video game movie could work, and not only just any video game, fighting video game. So
Yeah.
again, really excited for this second movie and really hoping it does really well so we can get a third one. Because again, if we know shit, we know Shinnok is in this movie, and um, we know there's going to be things that he could set up into like a fourth movie, unless they do something where um, they combine elements of the third and fourth game together to make their third movie, kind of like what Mortal Kombat 1 in 1995 did, where it was essentially Mortal Kombat 1 and then the end was the ending of Mortal Kombat 2. So it'll be interesting to see, but I do hope it does well so we can get that ranking through. At
Yeah,
least we gotta get at least get a trilogy out of it.
yeah. I mean, and you're gonna have Noob Saibot. Looks like I think I saw Quan Chi in the trailer as well. Um,
Yeah, Quan
so
Chi pops up.
we'll have a
I
lot
want
of
to see
different
Smoke in the movie.
characters. Because even in the first movie, they had random characters like Natara,
Cabal.
Cabal, exactly. So the like Randy was saying, I think there's a lot of love with these movies nowadays. A lot different from when they were making a movie in '95. I mean, these studios didn't think that this property would make this much money, but WB knows what it's working with here, and it really has the potential to kind of boost the franchise back up after MK1 having the critiques that it did have. So, as a Mortal Kombat fan, going to be cheering for the success of this movie, hoping that the movie is high quality. Like we've all said, is it going to be able to transcend and be better than just a video game adaptation? That's to be seen. So, um, well, that's it. I think in terms of our show tonight, just wanted to give a little update on Wonder Man and a little bit of our thoughts on some of the cool pop culture stuff that came out today with that MK2 trailer too that just came out. So it's your boy Sal. It's the Muslim. We'll be back live with more on MCU in Review. Got Arlo Vision, Randy here, Lotus Cow, Quay, as always. And I wish everyone a good evening. So, till next time.
Till next time, folks.